Hello and welcome. My name is Haley. I am Someday Knits here on YouTube as well as Instagram, TikTok, Ravelry, and this is my knitting channel slash fiber channel where I talk about just kind of all the crafty things I like to do. Today is going to be another knitting podcast, and it's been a while. I think it's been about a month since the last one, so yes, mama, my little baby girl is here with me, so if you hear some noises, that's what's going on. Yes. And yes, so it's going to be another podcast episode. I have quite a bit to talk about, and I finally have finished objects. We have finished objects this episode, and a bunch of whips. So I'm going to hop right into it and start with, of course, the finished object that I'm wearing today. This is the STALK sweater by Olga Pitano Designs that I made for my mom. It is a ribbed sweater with little cable accents. Yes, these are my pajama pants. I did this out of the Knitting for Olive Heavy Merino in the color Hazel, which is a heathered brown. It's really gloomy today and I've been struggling with the lighting, so it's looking grayish. It's looking grayish, huh? But in real life it's truly a brown. Maybe a little dusty, but it's pretty brown. And it's like a heathered mix. I'm not sure if it's dyed or natural, but I have determined that it is non-superwash. In a past video, I was really confused about whether Knitting for Olive was superwash or not, and thanks to YouTube, someone commented and let me know that it is in fact non-superwash, which is easily believable because it's itchy. I don't want to, I mean, itchy sounds kind of harsh, but for me it's itchy prickly. And so yeah, it being non-superwash makes sense, but I feel like it knitted up so well. It holds its structure really well, and I'm gonna let her do her thing for a second. I feel like it knit up really well. It has excellent stitch definition. The ribbing really pops. Like, it's very easy to see, and the cables just look great. So for the way that this sweater looks and feels like structure wise, as far as like the amount of drape, I feel like the yarn does a good job of holding itself up versus getting like really heavy and kind of pulling down. I think it's really great. Unfortunately, it's just so prickly, so it would have to either be really cold, or I would definitely have to wear a shirt under this. The neckline is by no means like a turtleneck or anything crazy. It does sit a little bit close to the neck, but I do have a lot of space, and it's still just a little bit annoying for me. My mom loves it. She has no issues with it whatsoever, so it's definitely doable for the right person. The right person is just not me, which is unfortunate because I really love how it knit up. It blocked so good. It's like I love the entire experience of the yarn outside of wearing it. So I don't know, maybe I'll just keep trying to wear hers and see if I can overcome, because being a non-sensitive wearer opens doors to a lot of beautiful yarns to knit with. And there's a lot on my list that I would just love to have in my closet, but refuse to spend the money on because I know I would not wear the garment. So that's that on that. But I do love it. So it's like, I can recommend it. I can say positive things and vouch strongly for this yarn. I just want to keep it in my own closet, if that makes sense. Next finished object is kind of It's this hat. This is the rib loop beanie by Other Loops. It is a 1x1 rib beanie, and I did it out of Big Twist Gentle, which is 100% acrylic, for my husband, mainly because the last hat that I knit for him he lost, so I'm giving him a trial run, and I didn't want to invest a lot if he was going to lose it again. As far as the pattern goes, this pattern was, I think, $7 US maybe, or just under $7, and it's quite basic. I guess I could have figured that out just like reading ahead before purchasing, but the photos of the sample and just being a big fan, admirer of Other Loops designs in general, I was like, oh, that's great. She did it out of this onling, I'm not sure how to pronounce it, yarn, and I really loved her black version. And then after purchasing the pattern, I realized that they don't even make that yarn anymore. It's not even available. So that was a bummer. And then I opened the pattern and saw that there's only 2 sizes. And yes, mama. I don't know if Petite Knit has just been spoiling me, but that's the only paid for hat pattern that I have in my library right now, the Oslo hat. And I, like, off the top of my mind, I really think that pattern came with like child to adult man, or maybe even baby to adult man. It had a lot of sizes. I know it was more than 2, and the 2 sizes in this pattern are both adult, or what I would consider to be adult, but it doesn't necessarily specify who the sizes are intended for. And the stitch count between the sizes are only 8 stitches different. So it's only 2 sizes, and the 2 sizes aren't even that far apart. So that was kind of, should I have paid $6 for it? And you know, there's no going back now. I'm not too mad about it, but if I could do it again, I might do things differently. It also took me a minute to understand the decreases. I will say, I'll go back to this pattern over and over because it's simple 1x1 rib, and it's on 4.5mm needles, so it went so fast. So for those reasons alone, I'll definitely still use the pattern and get my money's worth. So if you're interested, I'm not saying don't buy it, but it took me a second to figure out what was going on here. When you place the markers for these decreases, I could not understand, and I still don't understand, what is the front and what is the back. Like, is this supposed to be the front, this like wide section of decreases, or is this supposed to be the front with this one? I'm not sure, but it all looks neat and clean and profesh, so I'm not mad at it. But I will say I do not like this yarn at all. What's the matter? So this again is the Big Twist Gentle, which is 100% acrylic in the color black. I don't knit with acrylic very often. I think this is my first ever finished piece with acrylic, and this is my first time ever with this specific yarn, and it is 100% anti-pilling, so it says. I don't know if it's 100% anti-pilling acrylic, like it's 100% acrylic, or if it's 100% not gonna pill. But I feel like they should just separate those, separate the verbiage, because this started getting fuzzy before the hat was even off the needles, and I can see how they're getting away with the anti-pilling because it doesn't pill necessarily into little balls, but wow, it looks pretty good on camera, but it just develops this like film of fuzz. All the fuzz just kind of makes this thin haze over the whole project, which I'm struggling to even show you, but in real life this hat already looks dingy and it's never been worn. So maybe if I put it this way, can you see better? Like there's just a haze of fuzz that I don't appreciate. But it is also too big for my husband. I knit this in the biggest size thinking like, oh, he's a man, but I forgot he's a man with like a child head. So I'm gonna try the smaller size, but I might have to finagle it even smaller because like I said, there's only 2 sizes and they're not that far apart. So we'll see how that goes, but it does give me an excuse to make it out of something else because I didn't even like looking at him wear this, even though he has no issues with it other than it being slightly too big, and he still wears it slightly too big. So my only qualms with this, I can't stop spinning it, my only qualms with this are the yarn. The pattern is just so, but like I said, I would and will knit the pattern again, and if you need a solid 1x1 pattern and you just want to pay for it, I don't think it's a bad one. Oh, and I did skip the Italian cast on. I just did regular long tail because I get a little lazy in my gift knits. But you know, that's okay. Still a gift. My last finished object is this Monday Sweater Junior. This has been done, wow, the color difference was huge. This has been done for quite a while. I did it out of 1 strand of the Knitting for Olive Merino, 1 strand of the Cotton Merino in an assortment of colors. So all of these are 2 different colors each stripe. So I had Ballerina, Ice Blue, and Unicorn Purple. Those were the merino shades, and then I just got the closest cotton merino shade that I could find because I bought the cotton merino in store, so the selection wasn't the same as online. And I believe they're soft rose, soft aqua, and rose mouse. But yeah, basically pink, blue, purple stripes. I made this in a kid size because I had originally gotten a like adult t-shirt quantity, so I didn't have enough for an adult sweater, and I honestly just didn't love my game plan for it that much. I was going to turn it into a rumble raglan by What Lydia Made, and it sat and sat and sat because I would have to use such tiny needles to meet gauge, and I didn't want to buy more yarn, and I didn't want to size down needles, so that whip just went nowhere. and this was kind of the perfect way to use some of it. I will say I had 2 balls of each color per, yeah, 2 balls per color, and I still had a lot of yarn left over, especially the pink. I had like almost a full 50 grams of the pink still left over, and then less as it goes down. So I had the least amount of the purple left over, but at least some of it got used. And I really do love the feel of this fabric. I made this before I realized that it was non-superwash, so this will be a very interesting kids garment as far as care. But I do like the feel, and I am considering making something for me out of the combo, especially living in the South. Sometimes you need that extra, not coldness, but that cotton, that breathability, so it's not just all wool and super hot. And Knitting for Olive has so many colors to choose from, so you can make like almost any color garment. But yeah, that's that on this one. No hiccups, no complaints. Turned out so cute. This is the garment where I kind of like perfected my Italian cast off for the 1x1 rib. So I appreciate her very much for that, because I have now used it a lot moving forward. And you can see on the bottom of the body, like where I started cast off wise, and then you go around and all of a sudden it just gets really neat and really put together. It's like hectic and then pretty organized. But I'm glad that it happened on a kids knit versus something for myself, because I probably would have had to rip it out and start over. But kids don't really care that much. And that's all for finished objects. I really thought at this point I would have a sock finished, but as we get into whips, I will let you know that that did not happen. This is my Friday night sock by Northwoods Knit Co. Come on, camera. I am doing it out of the leftover Suburban Stitchers sock yarn that I had for the body of the sock, and then I picked up some Earth Yarns Harvest Fingering in black for the accents. This was originally a DK sock that I unraveled because it wasn't cute. It wasn't cute. And when Northwoods Knit Co. came out with this pattern, I was like, oh, that's what I was attempting to accomplish, but you did it way better, so I'm gonna get your pattern. And the nice part is most of her sock patterns, all the sock patterns I've experienced, come with 3 patterns, so I got this one and 2 more. But I have just kind of been more excited about sweaters now that it's actually cooling off outside, and I'll be able to wear my hand knits out the house. I've been really wanting to get some sweaters off my needles, also because I didn't even have anything to wear in my podcast, because a lot of the hand knits that I've made in the past I did not keep. I only kept my mod tee, which is really hot. So yeah, they've seen some love. I've gotten past the heel flap and gusset, and I'm working on up. I only have 1 cable of the leg completed so far, but it's very quick and easy. The cables are really far apart, so you kind of speed through as far as like number of rows in between them, so you speed through pretty quickly, and there's only 2 cables on each side, and then the bottom of the foot is obviously stockinette, so it goes by really fast. The reason I don't have progress is because I haven't picked it up. So that's that one. I'm doing it on 2mm needles. I believe the pattern is written for 2.5, but to get a good size for my foot, I needed to do 2. I also increased past 64 for whatever reason and knit the whole foot on 68 stitches, and then got to the part for the heel flap and gusset, realized why the sock was looking so big, and then just made the heel flap and gusset increases 4 stitches short and decreased that excess out, so the rest of the leg will be the right size. So by the time I finished the heel flap and gusset, I was back to the 64 stitches I was supposed to have, and everything's fine and dandy now. But yeah, that is that, and that colorway is called Rorschach. I haven't been able to pronounce it for I don't know how many podcasts, and I finally looked it up. It's Rorschach, in case you were wondering, but it isn't available anymore, so I guess that's not that helpful. Right on into the next whip. What direction should we go? Let's do, this one's gonna be in and out because this is my progress. If you can see from the armpit, I have done about 1.5 inches, maybe 2 inches if you're being generous, on the last arm of my Vincent sweater Junior by Colibri by Joanna on Instagram. This was a test knit. I thought the pattern was so cute when it came out. I had never worked with glitter yarn. Can you see? You can kind of see it sparkling. So this pattern is worked with 2 strands of mohair and 1 strand glitter, but I chose to do alpaca because mohair really itches me. So I didn't want to put my baby in mohair if she wouldn't be able to tell me if it was itchy or not. But who knows, she may be fine, but until she can tell me, we're going with alpaca, which is also a little bit itchy if you're super sensitive. So don't think like, oh, I'll just start using alpaca and I'll be great. It's just better. It's not great though. And yeah, I think the color combo came out really pretty. I did the drops brushed alpaca in off-white, and this is called Anchor Metallic Fine, this gold peeking through, in the color gold. This should be done by now, but again, I've just been avoiding it because it's size 1 to 2 years and my daughter is 4 months, so I'm in no rush. Okay, now into my whips that I'm way more excited about and I've gotten places. 2 of these, actually I think all 3 of these are about to have their debut on my channel. I don't think I've shown or spoken about them at all because I cast it on and just started speeding through, and all of these have been cast on since my last podcast. So this is my storm sweater. The lighting today, y'all, I'm so sorry. See, completely different color. I have finished the body completely, so that's why there's no needles or anything hanging off of this. The body is completely done. I did it a little bit shorter than I had originally imagined in my head because you have to work the pattern per stripe, and I felt like a whole entire stripe was going to be too much. So to kind of compensate, I made the ribbing longer than the pattern called for. I'm doing it out of Cascade Heritage sock yarn in the color Primrose Pink, which is a pink, but for whatever reason it does look purple in some settings, so it's like a pinky purple. But I don't think I've made any modifications if you've seen High Fiber Knits Storm Sweater review, I think she called it a pattern review, she does highlight a lot of mistakes in the, I shouldn't say a lot, I think it was only 2 or 3 mistakes in the pattern, and I have not come across them, or maybe I just didn't read correctly and didn't even spot them, but I was fine for knitting size small. I will say the amount of oversize I originally anticipated, I got nervous because the cast on is split into 3 groups, and the size medium cast on was the same cast on for medium, large, and extra large, and in my head it just sounded like that was going to be too big, because essentially all 3 of those sizes are the same length across the back. So you cast on across the back, and like I said, there's only 3 cast on sizes, so extra, extra small, and small are this length across the body, and then if you want a medium, you're gonna get a body size of medium, large, extra large. So essentially an extra large body size, and I felt like that was going to be way too big on me. The difference in circumference is addressed under the armpit, so obviously you increase more for the large and extra large versus the medium, but my shoulders are not super broad, so the body would have been hanging way down my arm, and then I would have had just a lot of fabric bunching, kind of like I have right here in this sweater, but this is smaller, a smaller chest circumference. So I wanted this type of fit, but I was just nervous that the way the pattern was designed, it wasn't going to accomplish that, because like I said, it's just not broken down. It's more under the armpit. So I went with a small. It's a little smaller now than I originally wanted, but I do think since it's superwash and it's really like heavy and drapey, I think blocking is gonna fix it right up. And you can see it's kind of like just past my shoulder, and I just wanted like a tad bit more, but I didn't want this much more. You feel me? And yeah, that was basically a very long-winded way to say that I chose size small, and I don't know if it's gonna be too small or not, but we shall see when I actually pick up for sleeves. I paused this here because it's so crazy how the lighting changes the color so drastically. But I put this down because this one is closer to being finished, and I'm getting like antsy to have a finished object, so I'm gonna knock this out before I pick up those sleeves. I have one full sleeve finished. Oh, that was Storm Sweater Petite Knit. This is Structure Loop Sweater Other Loops. The Petite Knit, I'm pretty sure, is considered size inclusive. I think this only goes up to maybe 54-inch bust. Let me not lie. Oh wow. This goes up to a finished chest of 57.75, which is intended for a personal chest of max 47.25. So a lot smaller size range than I thought, which is unfortunate. It's a really sticky place to be in because there's a lot of designs that I absolutely love, and in a craft where you put so much time and effort and money into something, you want to make what you're gonna love to wear. But at the same time, everybody should have the opportunity to do that, and I do recognize that. And if it's something that you're gonna, or by your, I mean like designers and stuff, if it's something that they're gonna put on the internet and, you know, take photos of, show, and kind of blast and put frontline in people's faces, then I feel like everybody's face that they put it in front of should have the opportunity to knit it. I feel like it can't be that hard to grade more sizes. I haven't written a full-fledged pattern or graded any designs myself, so this is obviously all based off of assumption, but to me it makes sense that if you can grade for the 6 sizes that the pattern includes, clearly you know how to grade patterns and you can grade more sizes. So I really do hope that this becomes accessible to all in the future. I do think that she's gotten some backlash in the past and has expanded the newer releases, but this has been out for a while. This has been out for as long as I've been knitting. I've remembered it out, so maybe she hasn't taken the time to go back. It's not my job to make excuses or explain it for her, because like I said, if you can grade it for 6 sizes, I'm sure you can grade it for more. But this is it. It is also Cascade Heritage sock. It is essentially a textury stripe. I'm gonna give you the zoom, because if you want it and don't want to support the pattern, I will say that when I swatched for this design, I went on Instagram and zoomed in on people's pictures and knit the swatch without having bought the pattern and nailed it. So do with that as you will. It's just textured stripes. So Oslo sweater at the texture stripes. You know, there's a, is it Duomo? There's plenty of size inclusive stockinette drop shoulders, and these are the stripes. And I haven't shown you anything that the designer hasn't shown on Instagram, so I feel like, you know, that's justified. I've completed 1 sleeve. I decreased significantly more than the pattern called for. I'm knitting the size medium in this pattern because there's more differentiation in the sizes, so I thought medium was going to give me the look I was going for. And yeah, the size, when I tried it on, for whatever reason, again, I had to pick up way more stitches than the pattern called for, so I already knew I was gonna need to do more decreases, which is why you see like rapid decreasing right here, because I wasn't trying to waste yarn on a massively wide sleeve. So I started decreasing a bunch, and then when I got to closer to the amount of stitches I was about to pick up, I started decreasing in the stripes just to kind of hide them a little bit more. That was the only rhyme or reason for not spacing them out evenly. And then I decreased down to 52 stitches, and I think that was like 6 to 10 stitches less than the size extra small. So I knit a medium, I decreased the sleeves beyond the extra small, smaller than the extra small, because my wrists are, I mean, you can see this right here. And if I am wearing my sweaters, I need to be able to roll my sleeve up without it pushing back down when I have to do something messy with the kids or the dishes, stuff like that. So for me personally, I wanted a closer to the wrist fit, so when I push this up over my elbow, it'll stay there. And I also added these 2 accent stripes, which are just pulling from the regular pattern to the end of the ribbing. The pattern just has it all in the main color. Also not hard to figure out, literally just 2, 2, 2, and cast off in Italian bind off 1 by 1. And just like the Monday Sweater Junior, I skipped the setup rows of double knitting. I just like to go straight into the sewing. So I guess this is kind of a half Italian bind off. But anyway, I'm on the ribbing of the body. I also did the ribbing on 3.25. I think the pattern calls for 3.5. I'm on the ribbing. I had put in the stripe that the pattern does call for of the accent color, and I just didn't love it. So I think I'm gonna follow the sleeves because I just want more space between the texture stripe and the ribbing stripes. I felt like it was a lot going on, too close together, so I'm just gonna space them out a little bit more and then put in those stripes, pick up for the sleeve, and I will be done. And I will have my first finished object for me since my year off of knitting. So I'm really excited about that. And yeah, I do feel kind of bad that I brought it up, and the sizes are way smaller than I thought. It's essentially 32 inches to 47 inches, so it only covers 15 inches. That was my bad. And now I'm questioning the whip that I'm extremely excited for, because if you've been on this channel at all, I've talked about this in almost every podcast in some form or fashion, because it's my second attempt at knitting this sweater, and it is by the same designer as well, and the size range is the same. So I'm not going to go into pattern details. I'm just going to show you the whip. It is a cabled raglan in 3x2 rib, and I'm doing it out of Earth Yarns DK and Oleaster in Rowan Cashmere Haze, which is pretty much a brushed alpaca. I think it's almost an even split between cashmere and alpaca, and then a silk core. But it's just a fluff yarn that's not mohair, and this I actually really do like. The swatch that I had tested was a bit prickly before blocking, and then once I blocked it, it's really wearable, and I'm really excited about that, except for the fact that this yarn specifically has been discontinued and the color selection is very limited. So the lifespan of this type of fabric in my wardrobe is looking very short. But yeah, that being said, I've not gotten very far. I have not split for sleeves, and I think I'm quite far from splitting for sleeves, but it's on 4.5mm needles, so it feels like it's going really fast. I also just love the warmth of this beige combo, which, again, the camera is just not cutting me any slack with the colors today, but the main yarn is almost like an olivey undertone of cream-ish, maybe beige, and then the fluff is a very peachy undertone. I don't know how well you'll be able to see the differences, but combined they just make a lovely warm cream that I feel like complements my skin tone really well, and it was the deciding factor between going with this combination or the, do I have it? Or the Bernat Bundle Up. I just felt like this was too much of a washout. Do you see Do you see the difference? This is like warm and lovely. This is super soft, super cozy, but very pale. Very, very wash me out. So that is it for whips. I do have a couple of acquisitions, but they're nothing crazy. I just picked up some more of these. Ooh, sorry. Some more of these unicorn fixed circulars. I had a lot of projects on 4mm needles, and I only have only have 2 sets of interchangeables. The combo just wasn't working. I was running out of needles, so I picked up a 4mm 3.25 and another 2mm for socks because they're just so cute. Like, how can you pass that up? It's swirly and spirally, and the cord is pink. I wouldn't say they're amazing by any means, but if you're the type of person that likes cute things and cute things encourage you to cast stuff on, like, do we need cast on encouragement? But if that's you, I do think these will get you there. And the neat part about the bigger sizes is they have this little SOS line. Can you see that? Ooh, this is difficult. There is a hole in this cable. Take my word for it. There's a hole right there. And you can put your string through the hole if you want to do a lifeline. Can't decide if I love it or hate it because your cable is just essentially sliced in half. So it doesn't snag or anything, but for someone who likes things neat and put together, it's not my favorite because if the camera would cooperate and actually show you, you would be able to see that the 2 sides of the SOS portion don't line up with each other. But yeah, I don't know if that'll be able to come across. Other than that, I will love them and I will forever reach for them because they are unicorn inspired. And there's no stronger reason. I personally don't even like Addie that much. This is the best thing Addie ever did. And they only come in basic tip. So they're also very dull, which has taught me that sometimes you do need dull needles in your stash when you have super splitty yarns. This Cascade Heritage is so soft that sharp needles really snag it. So I actually have found that I'm a little bit faster on these unicorn babies. So that's a nice takeaway. But like I said, they're not amazing. They're purely aesthetic. So if you're into that, you'll love them. If you're not, you don't need them. You're fine. You're doing a-okay without them. And that is about it for today. As far as life things, we are back in Tennessee. We're about to be traveling for another month next month, which is so hectic but so enjoyable to just see family, spend the holidays on different coasts with different people. Everybody's excited to see our newest baby because she hasn't met everybody yet, so I'm really looking forward to bringing her to my husband's side up in Philly. So I'm really looking forward to that, and November is my birthday month. So Team Scorpio, I really want to cast on my perfect purple sweater, but it has been very daunting. I think I've gotten to that place where I'm like, okay, I want a perfect purple sweater, and it has to be the sweater and the purple and the fabric all in one, as if I'm never going to knit another purple sweater. And I don't know if that's true. Like, maybe I'll only knit one, but I think I've been putting too much pressure on myself. So that might not even happen because I can't decide if I want sweater, if I want cardigan, if I want light purple, if I want dark purple, if I want fuzzy, if I want no fuzz. I'm just all over the place. And I don't want to add stress to my birthday. So I'm focusing on just getting these whips out of the whip pile into the FO pile. And yeah, we'll see. But as you can tell, purple's that girl. She's my bestie. And I really do want to cast on something purple. If you have like suggestions, I want ideally a fuzzy yarn and a merino regular, whatever this is, no, not heavy merino, whatever this is called, where it's like spun, you know, not fuzzy. I want one of each, and the fuzzy yarn I would want to be in the cashmere / alpaca realm, because mohair is just unrealistic, right? Mohair is unrealistic for me. And then the merino, I'm kind of open to superwash or non-superwash, because this has shown me that if I can just mind over matter, I can wear non-superwash yarns and the garment will be great and the lifespan will be great, the fit will be great. I'll just be a tiny bit uncomfortable, and over time I'll probably just even forget about it. So I think that is it for this podcast. It's been quite a lengthy one. If you've made it this far, thank you so much. You're greatly appreciated. You're gorgeous. You're loved here. You're welcome. You're welcome in, not you're welcome like thank you, you're welcome, but you are welcome here in this space. And that is about it. I'll probably be checking in another couple weeks, just because traveling is hectic and I've been leaning more towards blogs. Oh, this, I forgot to say that I knit this with the cables in the complete wrong spot and had to do the most epic sweater surgery I have yet to do in my career, and I did film it. So if you're ever, you know, just out there messing up your cables, look forward to that video on how I fixed it. I wouldn't necessarily say it's a tutorial because I was making things up as I went, but it ended up being very helpful and very useful. So if you're into that, that'll be coming this next week, and a vlog of the actual storm sweater process will be coming the week after that. So these next 2 weeks will be side videos, and then I'll probably come back with another podcast in about a month or so. So that is a little bit of what you can expect from me. So again, if you have made it this far, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. If it is in your heart to like and subscribe, I would appreciate that as well. And yeah, happy knitting, happy crocheting, happy crafting. Never be afraid to DM me what you got going on, what you're working on, questions you may have, inspo you think I may like. I am open to it all. I'm a stay-at-home mom of a toddler and a baby, and I need friends. Thank you. All right, love you, bye. See you in the next one.